Tonight was just one of the many extraordinary gestures of forgiveness contained in our #3 story in the countdown tonight. The family of Marion Fisher, one of the Amish girls killed in a schoolhouse on Monday, invited the widow of her killer to their little girl's funeral this morning. That funeral, one of 4 on this sad day there, the 5th scheduled for tomorrow. The funeral processions today, simple and humble, from a community that has met an awful event with dignity and abiding humanity. Our correspondent in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, is Rahima Ellis.
The horse-drawn carriage processions were in step with age-old Amish tradition. First, the body of 7-year-old Naomi Rose Ebersol. Hours later, the body of 13-year-old Marion Fisher. And late this afternoon, 7-year-old Lena Miller and her 8-year-old sister, Mary Liz. Keeping with tradition, the families prepared the bodies, the young victims clothed in white dresses handmade by their mothers. The services are plain and private. There is a short sermon and scripture is read. There is no eulogy, just respect for the life, but not praise. They reserve that for God.
There'll be words of comfort read from the Bible, from the German Bible. It will be a solemn time. It'll be a time of coming together once again and just being together and crying on each other's shoulders.
While the non-Amish community was not part of the processions, many are showing support in other ways. Much of it in the form of money. More than $500,000 has been donated to charities set up for the Amish, something they are unaccustomed to accepting.
Far and wide, churches are bringing meals. We're hearing of corporations and companies providing food. They said to me, you know, we could handle this on our own, but that would not be Christ-like. Why should we stop people from being a blessing to us?
And although the Amish recognize the community outpouring as a blessing, what's needed most now, they say, are prayers. Tonight, 4 other girls remain hospitalized. Another student reportedly has been taken off life support. There is another funeral tomorrow, but members of this Amish community fear it may not be the last. Keith?
Rahima Ellis, great thanks. Those funds have been created to help the families of the Amish victims, of course, but there are reports that those families insist on sharing some of the money with the widow and children of the shooter, Charles Carl Roberts. One fund has been set up exclusively for the Roberts family. Forgiveness as a response to heartbreak. Surprising, perhaps, especially these days, but also perhaps grief's most powerful antidote. Our correspondent is Janet Shamley.
An unimaginable crime followed by an inconceivable response.
Even though there's been this terrible thing happen, we don't need to think about judgment. We need to think about forgiveness and going on.
The Amish community losing its most innocent, but somehow holding on to a steadfast belief in forgiveness, even for a man who targeted their children.
Forgiveness is irrational. It's the most irrational thing that most people will ever attempt in their life.
Abigail knows that most devastating of losses. Her own daughter, Catherine, also died violently, stabbed by a stranger. Even after the killer was sent to death row, Gail was consumed by hate.
I was full of anger and rage and an absolute lusting for revenge for years.
No relief until more than a decade later, when she wrote Catherine's killer.
I was surprised to find that I could forgive you. This does not mean that I think you are innocent or that you are blameless for what happened. The instant I put the letter in the mailbox, all the anger and rage and ugliness I'd carried in my body for 12 long years was instantly gone.
Gail says it was a moment that changed her life.
Forgiveness has the most profound healing power. It releases a person from that need to relive a trauma again and again and again.
A belief the Amish live by through the words of a grieving grandfather.
Is there anger towards the gunman's family?
No.
Have you already forgiven?
In my heart, yes.
A peaceful community, rocked by violence, sustained by forgiveness and amazing grace. Janet Shamlian, NBC News, Chicago.